877-933-2484. Dennis is checking in from Woodbury. Dennis, way to go. You held. I'm so glad. Thanks for your patience.
It's worth the wait, guys. It's good to talk to you again. I just wanted to ask the question. After the Lord gave his life on the cross, and it was my understanding that, I don't know if this is right, but didn't he go into hell to get the people out of hell? And I don't know if that's right or not, but I was wondering how Moses and Elijah were able to stand on the Mount of Transfiguration with him if he had not already gave his life on the cross to go and get people. How were they able to be there and not in hell if he hadn't given his life up yet?
Well, you're asking a question that involves a great controversy among Christians, and the idea is this. The debate is this. At the moment of death, do believers in Old Testament times go to a good compartment of Hades, and unbelievers go to the bad compartment, a place known as torments, and then at the resurrection of Christ, did Christ take all of those good people out of the paradise part of Hades into heaven? That's one view. The other view is that the term Abraham's bosom or paradise are just metaphors for heaven, so that the Old Testament believers go straight to heaven in the afterlife. And so, there's this big controversy as to what is meant by certain passages of Scripture. And then to make things even more complicated, there are some passages in 1 Peter in particular that talks about how Jesus at the moment of death went down and preached to the spirits in prison, and implying maybe that there's a second chance, or maybe there's both good and bad people down there that might respond to the gospel. Obviously there is a great controversy just by the verses I've shared so far. My personal view is the heaven view, that at the very death of Christians or believers in Old Testament times, that they went straight into heaven. And that's one of the reasons why Jesus, when he was talking to the Pharisees and the Sadducees, talked about how Abraham and Isaac and Jacob were all already in heaven because God is the God of the living, not of the dead. So it doesn't seem like they were in some separate compartment known as paradise and Hades, but rather they were already in heaven. And when Moses and Elijah appeared to Jesus on the Mount of Transfiguration, they simply appeared from heaven, and then they went right back to heaven, following their message. And it would make sense that they would appear because you have the greatest lawgiver and the greatest prophet there speaking to Jesus about the plan of God and the unfolding of the plan of God. And then once their conversation was over, they departed and went straight back to heaven. I don't know if that sheds any light for you. I do talk about this in some detail in the books that I've written on heaven, the latest of which is called What Happens After Life?
I'm just mouthing to Grace going, do we have that? But we're on live radio, so I should probably not let the awkward silence.
Hey, if you don't have that, I'll send it right out to you.
You got us. I'm going, that sounds good. So, Dennis, what we do have for you is 100 Names of God, daily devotional. We'll send you a copy of that. Thank you so much for that thoughtful question.